In deep state USA, the FBI doesn't solve crime, it manages crime. The CIA doesn't collect intelligence, it collects people. The courts don't meet justice, they deny it. The news doesn't report the news, they contort it. The deep state doesn't serve, it enslaves. But slavery is a choice. A slave submits. The cage is safe. The chain's certain. Freedom is dangerous. The opposite of slavery is freedom. The opposite of a slave is a warrior. The enslaver demands submission. Say as you are told. Do as you are told, or else. The slave submits. A warrior refuses to submit. A warrior is dangerous, free, uncontrollable, unstoppable, relentless. I will never be a slave. I am a warrior. What are you? I'm also a retired soldier, special agent, and spy turned whistleblower warrior. Served and sabotaged, rejected and redeemed, failed and forgiven, betrayed and saved, rejecting revenge, humbled and blessed, repurposed in redemption as chaplain, leader, teacher, and truth teller. Now, your intelligence officer, following God, leading my family, and any that choose to join on our long walk to faith and freedom. Welcome, everybody. I'm Jeff Prather, and this is the Prather Point. Happy to be with you today. If you haven't yet, please go to jeffreyprather.com, JEFFREYPRATHER.com. Subscribe for free updates. For a deeper dive, go to patreon.com. And I have $5, $15, and $25 level subscriptions, 5 curated news stories, 15 transcripts. I just transcripted. Sean just transcripted my wife's conflict versus conflict to conviction. And also, she asked me to put out that there's a special meeting, Mrs. Major meeting. It's run at the bottom there, Wednesday night. Reference Patriot Switch. That's the anti-big box, patriotic, Christian-oriented company that we are supporting. If you'd like to join her in that call, you can email her at help@jeffreyprather.com. So patreon.com/jeffreyprather, $5, $15, $25 levels. Also jeffreyprather.locals.com. And there's lots of new stuff in the shop there. There's a Parents versus Pedos cup and t-shirts. The Jab Rescue Kit is still there. Going to have a special offer on my books, a book set coming out of Initiation and Chase, signed one set. There's a limited number of those, not from Amazon, but from me if you're interested in those as well. You can also go for help@jeffreyprather.com to order those, that set coming up as well. Very excited today to have a special guest. My friend and real freedom attorney, Todd Callender, is on. But first, just to mention the title, I've told you for many times, this show is that whatever the deep state is accusing you of, they're actually doing. So the guys at the FBI who were accusing Trump of being a Russian spy are, in effect, actual Russian spies. And former special agent in charge of the New York Counterintelligence Division was spying with the Russians. Former special agent in charge of the New York Counterintelligence Division and a former Soviet and Russian diplomat were arrested. Charles McGonigal. Now, he has just retired. And while he was accusing Trump, he was working for the Russians, and they are being charged in the Southern District of New York, which is interesting because that's deep state central. That's where they go after Trump, with one count of conspiring to violate and evade U.S. sanctions in violation of IEEPA guidelines, and one count of conspiring to commit money laundering, and one count of money laundering. So that looks like convictions light to me, but we'll ask our alerted guest about that. But again, this to me looks like a deep state ploy, along with the Biden document dump. They're finding documents everywhere all of a sudden. That's all a dangle to keep your attention off other things. Now, Pence has found documents. None of that is real. That's a DOJ dangle. A dangle is an intelligence term where they want you to look in one place while they do things in other places. That's what I think that is all about. And the U.S. Marshals who were brave and patriotic in Portland, and I was honored to help get them anti-laser goggles because 3 of them had gotten blind, are now submitting to the Antifa protesters at the Supreme Court Justice's house, particularly Kavanaugh's house, saying, well, we don't want to arrest anybody, we'd make them martyrs. And it looks like the oldest federal law enforcement agency, the U.S. Marshals, has finally been corrupted. They're down about 50, 60% strength. I've talked about that. I know them. But now it looks like they are sold out and going along with the Antifa extortion plans, which is very, very sad to see. But this is all part of the collapse of the executive branch's Department of Justice. And that's very important to understand. Meanwhile, the Atlanta protesters, 5 of the 6 ones are not protesters, terrorists. They're doing that in reaction to Georgia State Police shooting one of their Antifa shooters. That's not allowed. They're only allowed to kill patriots. And they want to stop that Georgia Police Center from being built. They're not protesting the FBI billion-dollar headquarters in Huntsville, Alabama. That's fine, but this is not allowed to happen. And several of them are rich kids that have been arrested before. One is the daughter of a Democrat congresswoman, I believe, and the other is a son of a millionaire. Got that here someplace. Yeah. Millionaire Maine surgeon's son, 22, charged with domestic terrorism. Francis Carroll in Kennebunkport, which is Deep State Central, where everybody's got their homes. But that just continues to show the corruption of the system through infiltration, through espionage, so then it can be interdicted, sabotaged, which is why I'm always advocating counter espionage and counter sabotage legally, ethically, morally, and non-violently. But because the system has been corrupted. But I really want to talk about this with my friend and attorney, freedom attorney and expert, Todd Callender. So Todd, welcome back to the show. So glad to have you back.
Thanks for having me, Jeffrey. Always a pleasure.
So I have been, I'm on your email chain where I'm seeing all the great work you guys are doing, but it's hard for me to keep up with all the details because I came to my senses after 1 year in law school and left. I was also terrible at it. But first off, in the fight for a lawful country versus a lawless, criminal, corrupted court, a lot of us, including me, kind of feel that with the fall of Arizona, and today they're running hearings right now. Kerry Lake's got stuff going on, and I'm following the attorneys that are involved in that. But is the system irreparably broken and fallen, or is there still hope? And is that on just the local level or on the federal level too? Let's just kind of start there. Where's your perspective on lawfare?
Well, I think that they being the owners, the people we've talked about before, the people that own the money supply in every country of the world, effectively, save a few important ones, including Russia. Their motto is Ordo ab Chao, order out of chaos. And in order to bring in their new system of governance, something similar to the Chinese social credit system, they have to destroy everything, including our esprit de corps, our love of our country, our love of our military, our belief in our judicial system, the belief in our law enforcement. Everything has to go. And so I think they are actually failing at this, and we make ground little by little. So by way of example, the bioweapon called COVID was launched. The response that was pre-canned and ready to go, these mRNA shots, the adenovirus shots, and they tried to force them on everybody. And as you know, I sued the DOD because of that. They authorized the use of force against our own military with experimental shots. And what was interesting about that experience is hundreds of thousands of service members, instead of lining up to get their shots, said, no, we're not doing it. And it was by their campaign, their letter writing campaign, they filed suits, they filed Article 138's Inspector General reports, Nuremberg notices, exemptions. they papered the holy hell out of the DOD, which required a response. And the DOD was not prepared for that response, and they effectively ground the program to a halt. I'm saying this because that wasn't the program. That wasn't the plan. The plan was for everybody to do as they were told, take the shots, and everybody be sick and dying, and our country would likewise be dying today. So while all of that's happening, it slowed them down literally by years, and eventually actually undid it. You might have seen Congress and the National Defense Authorization Act force the DOD to rescind this order, which they actually didn't do. But it's in the law nonetheless. And now we've got more people standing for themselves inside the military saying, no, no, no. But Congress said you had to rescind this. I'm not whole. The word rescind means make me whole. Even in our case, we got an order from the court just a few days ago. Actually, it was 2 weeks all said and done. But we supplied our brief 2 days ago on this very issue. Is all of this moot in the military? Does that order moot? And the answer is no, because we have continuing harm. The point here is that it's a mixed bag in terms of our government. They want it dead. They stuck to their timeline. And they did this Declaration of North America, which is effectively the equivalent of when our founding fathers made the Declaration of Independence. This is the declaration of the death of our country, right? That's what was ruled out by Biden, Obrador, and Trudeau a couple of weeks ago. And that was, from international law perspective, the end of the United States of America. But you know what? America's not dying so quick. It's not dying so easily. They open the borders, they flood it, and yet people are finding their American belief and their strength and their standing. So we've got this strange hodgepodge about people that were bought and paid for by the owners. They're just actors in this great giant scheme, a facade. But then there's real people, judicial and otherwise, at the local level, who are saying no. At the personal level, no, I'm not going with that. America's not dead. I'm standing for it. So we're in a real dichotomy right now. But it gives me a tremendous amount of hope that this many people are standing. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, it does. So I'm going to pause here for a second. I'm just going to go ahead and leave